Have you ever felt it? That deep, lingering sense of being drained, as if the very color has been washed out of your day? Have you ever found yourself completely unmotivated, staring at a list of goals that once excited you, now feeling nothing but a strange and hollow emptiness? Perhaps you have dismissed it. Perhaps you have told yourself, "It's just a bad day," or "I'm just tired." But what if that feeling isn't just in your head? Today, we are going to pull back a veil. We are going to uncover one of the greatest spiritual secrets of our time. A truth so profound and so controversial that almost no one talks about it openly and directly. We are going to speak about what is stolen, what demons steal from those who fall into the silent, solitary trap of masturbation. Now, this may seem like a heavy topic, a subject steeped in controversy, and that is precisely the reason it is so rarely discussed with the gravity it deserves. But we must talk about it, because there is a powerful spiritual influence at play behind this act. This is not simply a biological issue, a normal bodily function, or a harmless habit as modern society would have you believe. It has a real, tangible, and often devastating impact on your personal energy, your mental and emotional state, and most importantly, your sacred spiritual journey. And here is the most sinister part of this entire dynamic. The more you feed this cycle, the more you willingly participate in it, the more you lose your precious vital force. You are, in essence, feeding unseen entities that have a vested interest in keeping you weak, in keeping you distracted, and in keeping you trapped in a low vibrational state. So, if you are listening to my voice right now, and you feel that your energy is almost always low, if you feel like your life is stuck in a repeating loop of stagnation, or if your connection to the divine feels distant and muted, then this message is for you. We will explore the hidden, unseen impacts of this habit. We will come to understand precisely why it weakens those who are known as the chosen ones, and, most importantly, we will reveal how you can break free from this insidious cycle and reclaim the strength that is rightfully yours. The chosen ones, those souls who have come to this earth with a special purpose, carry within them a uniquely powerful energy. It is a vital force, a spiritual current that sustains their connection to the higher realms and fuels their mission in this world. This energy goes by many names in many traditions. Some call it Kundalini, others refer to it as spiritual essence, or simply your inner strength. But regardless of the name you give it, this energy is not merely symbolic. It is real, it is palpable, and its presence, or its absence, can be felt in every single area of your life. When this sacred energy is strong, when it is balanced and flowing freely within you, the effects are undeniable. You feel more energized from the moment you wake up, not with a frantic, nervous energy, but with a calm, centered vitality. Your mind becomes exceptionally clear, like a still mountain lake, allowing you to think with precision and focus. Your intuition becomes razor-sharp, a reliable inner compass guiding your every move. And you feel firmly, unshakably grounded in your life's purpose. There is a sense of rightness, of alignment, of being exactly where you are supposed to be, doing exactly what you are supposed to be doing. But when this energy is drained, when it is misused or squandered, a series of clear and unmistakable signs of weakening begin to appear in your life. It often begins with an excessive, bone-deep fatigue that no amount of sleep can seem to cure. This is followed by a pervasive lack of motivation, a deep-seated unwillingness to pursue the very goals that once set your soul on fire. And beneath it all, that strange, gnawing sense of emptiness begins to creep in, a feeling that something vital is missing. And that is exactly what happens when a chosen one, a carrier of this potent light, falls into the trap of uncontrolled masturbation. You must understand this critical point. Each and every time you release this powerful energy unconsciously, without a sacred intention or a deep state of awareness, a significant part of your vital force is lost. It is siphoned away from you. And this loss is not just a physical event. It has a direct and immediate impact on your spiritual vibration, the very frequency at which your soul resonates. Pause for a moment and ask yourself this question with total honesty. Have you ever noticed that after this specific act you feel utterly exhausted? Not just tired, but hollowed out, as if something has been literally sucked out of you. That feeling is not just a psychological quirk or a flicker of guilt. It is a real, measurable energetic depletion that is taking place within your subtle body. This is precisely why so many ancient spiritual traditions, from the yogis of the East to the mystics of the West, speak with such reverence about the retention and the conscious channeling of sexual energy. It is no coincidence that this teaching appears again and again, across cultures and across millennia. In the spiritual realm, this sexual energy is considered to be one of the most powerful and creative forces in existence, because it carries within it the divine power of creation itself. It is the energy that creates new life, the spark of the cosmos condensed into human form. When this incredible force is well directed, when it is consciously channeled upward through your energy centers, it can be used to manifest incredible, positive changes in your life. It can be used to strengthen your spirituality, to deepen your connection with God, and even to build a powerful shield that protects you against energetic attacks. But when this same precious energy is repeatedly wasted, when it is thrown away for a moment of fleeting pleasure, the effect is the exact opposite. You become spiritually vulnerable. You become energetically weak. And you become far more prone to negative spiritual interference from the unseen realms, and that is precisely where the demons come in. This is not a metaphor. We are speaking of parasitic entities, of low vibrational beings that exist in the subtle planes around us. They are drawn to this wasted life force energy like moths to a flame. They take advantage of the fragility you create in your own energy field to drain even more of your energy, feeding off your light to sustain their own shadowy existence. Every single time you give in to this cycle, you are, whether you realize it or not, giving up something unbelievably precious. You are giving away your vital force, the very spiritual currency that should be used to strengthen you, to empower you, and to guide you on your sacred mission. Instead, this divine energy is being drained and diverted into something that brings you no real, lasting benefit whatsoever. It is a transaction where you always lose. Have you ever noticed how, in the moments or hours after engaging in this habit, a sudden and inexplicable sadness might strike you? It is a feeling that something is profoundly missing, a wave of melancholy that seems to come from nowhere. Or perhaps you have felt a greater, more pronounced difficulty in connecting with your spirituality, as if a door that was once open has now been slammed shut. Well, that is not a coincidence. In those moments, you are literally feeling the direct, real-time effects of this energetic drainage. And the more you feed this cycle, the more you give your energy away, the harder it becomes to recover your strength and reclaim your light. Now, let us consider what happens when this loss of vital energy becomes a frequent occurrence, a regular pattern in your life. What happens when your sacred spiritual connection begins to weaken day by day, and it becomes harder and harder to even feel the presence of your own inner light? You see, God, the universe, the divine source, whatever name you choose, communicates with us through a connection that goes far beyond mere words. It is a deep vibration. It is a frequency of love, wisdom, and light that, when we are attuned to it, brings us profound protection, unwavering clarity, and direct spiritual guidance. But this divine connection doesn't happen by chance. It is like a delicate instrument that must be carefully nurtured, protected, and kept in a state of balance. When the energy of a chosen one is aligned and strong, their intuition becomes a powerful and reliable guide. Their mind becomes clear and focused, free from the static of anxiety and doubt. In this state, they can easily perceive the signs and synchronicities that the universe sends to guide them on their path. However, when that same potent energy is constantly wasted, as it is with uncontrolled masturbation, the sacred connection inevitably begins to weaken. It frays, the signal becomes distorted and faint. Have you ever felt a sharp pang of guilt or a sudden sense of spiritual disconnection immediately after giving in to that habit? It is a feeling as if your entire vibration has suddenly dropped, And in that lower state, it becomes significantly harder to feel God's presence, or even to stay focused on your spiritual path. This happens because the act of masturbation, especially when it is fueled by fantasies or by consuming content that is loaded with heavy, dense energy, creates a very real barrier between you and the sacred. It is crucial to understand that this barrier is not just a psychological construct. It is not just in your mind. It is an energetic barrier. Each time you release your vital, creative energy unconsciously, your personal vibration lowers. And as your vibration drops, your ability to perceive and feel the high frequency of the divine presence also decreases. It is as if a thick gray veil is placed between you and the spiritual world. This veil clouds your mental clarity and makes it incredibly difficult to receive the answers to the questions you hold in your heart. It becomes harder to notice the subtle signs the universe is sending you, or even to feel that same profound sense of peace that comes from a strong divine connection. And there is one more important detail to consider here. Masturbation rarely happens in a vacuum. It often comes accompanied by thoughts and external stimuli that serve to lower the vibrational frequency of a chosen one even further. This is especially true when the act is carried out automatically and without any conscious awareness. Very often, it is connected to the consumption of images, videos, and the cultivation of fantasies that actively feed dark and heavy energies into your spiritual field, further contaminating your aura. In stark contrast, many chosen ones report that after sustained periods of abstinence and conscious control over this powerful energy, they begin to experience a much stronger intuition. They have more lucid and meaningful dreams, and they feel a tangibly deeper and more intimate connection with God. This happens for a very simple reason. By preserving this vital force, you allow your personal vibration to remain consistently elevated, making you a clearer channel for divine communication. The opposite is also true. When this energy is frequently wasted, you will inevitably feel a subtle but persistent distancing from the spiritual realms, as if your spiritual sensitivity, your ability to perceive the unseen, has become dull and muted, and the consequences do not stop there. This spiritual disconnection leaves a chosen one dangerously vulnerable. It opens you up to energetic attacks, to negative influences from those around you, and to crippling mental states of doubt and insecurity. Have you ever noticed how, after indulging in this habit, your mind becomes more unstable and chaotic? It's as if it becomes exponentially harder to stay focused on your mission and your long-term goals. This happens because by weakening your connection with God, you are also simultaneously weakening your own spiritual protection. And this vulnerability has far more serious consequences than you might imagine, because it opens doors within your energy field to forces that want to keep you weak, disconnected, and permanently lost. When a chosen one is spiritually strong and vibrant, their energy creates a natural, powerful shield around them. It is an invisible protective field of high-frequency light that automatically blocks incoming spiritual attacks, repels negative influences from people and places, and prevents dark forces from interfering in their life. This shield is your divine birthright, your first line of defense in an often unseen war. But what happens when that shield begins to weaken? What happens when your vital energy is constantly being drained away, as it is with uncontrolled masturbation? This protective barrier, this sacred shield, begins to crack. It develops holes and weak spots, and that is when the attacks begin. Many chosen ones notice that after a period of indulging in this habit, they start to feel significantly more anxious, restless, or even clinically depressed without any obvious external cause. Small things in their life begin to go wrong. Unexpected difficulties and obstacles seem to arise out of nowhere, and the feeling of being hopelessly stuck in life becomes more pronounced and obvious. This is not a coincidence. It is cause and effect. When your spiritual protection is weakened, parasitic entities and other dense, low vibrational energies find the openings they need to infiltrate your energy field. These negative influences operate in a very subtle and cunning way at first. It often starts with the gentle implantation of thoughts of doubt, thoughts of insecurity, and thoughts of self-sabotage. You begin to question yourself more and more. You start to lose confidence in your path, in your abilities, and in your mission. You begin to feel that your spiritual goals are impossibly far out of reach. Then come the heavy emotions. Waves of guilt, of fear, and of deep anguish wash over you, which serve to further drain your already depleted energy reserves. Little by little, your overall vibration drops lower and lower, and before you know it, you find yourself trapped in a vicious, self-perpetuating cycle of low frequency, from which it becomes increasingly difficult to escape. And the most dangerous part of this entire process is that when a chosen one is in this vulnerable, low-energy state, they become an easy and compliant target for spiritual manipulation. You must understand that these negative forces want you to remain weak. They want you to stay disconnected from your power and distant from your divine mission. They know that when you are fully empowered, when your energy is strong and your connection is clear, your light shines with an incredible intensity. They know that your light has the power to transform not only your own life, but the world around you. But when you are drained, lost, and confused, your positive influence becomes severely limited, and you become just another lost soul, another face in the crowd. Moreover, the loss of this spiritual protection also directly affects your relationships and your material life. Have you ever noticed how, after a period of indulgence in this habit, your interactions with other people seem to change for the worse? You might experience a strange distance from loved ones, persistent communication difficulties, and even unexplained conflicts that seem to erupt over nothing. This happens because your energy is no longer vibrating at the same clear, high frequency as before, and the people around you can sense this change, even if it is only on an unconscious energetic level. What's even worse is that when a chosen one is spiritually weak, their power of discernment also decreases significantly. You might find yourself starting to make poor decisions in your life. You might begin to trust the wrong people, getting involved in situations that are not for your highest good. You might find yourself following paths that lead absolutely nowhere, wasting your precious time and energy. All of this happens for one simple reason. Your intuition, your inner guidance system, has become clouded. Your protection is compromised, and you can no longer perceive the clear signs and warnings that were once so obvious to you. The chosen ones, souls like you, have grand missions to fulfill in this lifetime. You can feel it, can't you? Deep down, there has always been a calling inside of you, perhaps from a very early age. It is a persistent, quiet sense that you came to this world to do something greater, something meaningful. But fulfilling that sacred mission requires one essential ingredient above all others: discipline. And that is exactly what this habit insidiously robs from you. Repetitive masturbation doesn't just affect your spiritual energy, it physically rewires your brain. Every time you give in to this impulse, your nervous system releases a flood of dopamine, the neurotransmitter that is linked to pleasure and the brain's reward system. But over time, as this pattern is repeated, your brain gets used to this easy, instantaneous rush of pleasure. It becomes addicted to it, and as a result, it begins to actively avoid any activities that require sustained effort, patience, and discipline. Have you noticed how, after indulging in this habit, you feel lazier and more apathetic? Suddenly, everyday tasks that you used to handle with ease now seem like monumental chores. Procrastination becomes your default mode of operation, and that fiery drive you once had for your own spiritual growth seems to evaporate into thin air. This happens because your brain is being conditioned, day by day, to seek instant gratification instead of committing to the longer, more meaningful processes that lead to real growth. And this directly and disastrously impacts your connection with God and your life's purpose. If before you felt a natural urge to study, to meditate, to seek spiritual knowledge and to evolve as a person, now those same activities seem dull and uninteresting. The easy pleasure is so much more appealing. Little by little, you begin to neglect your mission. What was once a burning priority in your heart now becomes something you constantly postpone, something you tell yourself you'll get to later, a later that never seems to come. Moreover, this loss of discipline makes you far more vulnerable to a whole host of other addictions and distractions. Endless scrolling on social media, binge-watching television for hours on end, overeating, maintaining irregular sleep patterns. All of these things seem much more tempting when your core willpower has been weakened. And each time you give in to those distractions, your spiritual vibration drops even further, making it that much harder to regain control of your life and get back on your path. And this isn't just about losing focus on spiritual matters. This habit also directly affects your ability to achieve your material goals. Many chosen ones notice that when they are stuck in this debilitating cycle of self-sabotage, their projects, their careers, and their creative endeavors just don't seem to move forward. Whether it's in their work, their studies, or any other area of their life, the feeling of stagnation becomes a constant, frustrating companion. This is because the very energy that should be used to create, to build, and to manifest your desires is being squandered in an uncontrolled and purposeless way. Then comes the inevitable frustration. You start blaming yourself. You begin to feel incapable and weak, and that generates even more guilt and demotivation, which only fuels the cycle further. The mind becomes trapped in a vicious downward spiral. You feel lost and empty, so you seek relief in a moment of immediate pleasure. This act weakens you even more, causing you to lose your focus and discipline. And before you know it, your entire life is at a complete standstill. The chosen ones possess a special and sacred gift, the ability to manifest realities. This is not just about positive thinking or wishful coincidence. It is a tangible process of energy and action. Everything you feel, everything you think, and everything you believe generates a specific vibrational frequency, and that frequency acts like a magnet, attracting corresponding situations, people, and experiences into your life. But this incredible power can be completely and utterly sabotaged when your creative energy is being systematically wasted. Your sexual energy is one of the most potent and powerful forms of vital force that a human being possesses. It is no accident that the great spiritual masters throughout history have always emphasized the profound importance of directing this energy wisely. This energy is pure creation. It is the very same force that generates new life, the same force that drives ambitious projects to completion, and the same force that magnetizes opportunities to you. But when this divine force is constantly drained, especially through excessive and purposeless masturbation, your innate ability to attract and manifest begins to collapse. Think back in your own life. Have you noticed that when you remain firm in your resolve, focused in your mind, and disciplined in your actions, your life just seems to flow better? It's as if the universe conspires in your favor. Suddenly, the right doors open at the right time. You just happen to meet the right people who can help you. The answers you've been seeking come to you more easily, and everything feels aligned and purposeful. That is because your energy is being channeled correctly, creating a strong, coherent magnetic field around you. But when that same energy is wasted unconsciously and without control, your vibrational frequency weakens and becomes chaotic. It is as if your power of manifestation, your spiritual magnetism, is dissipated into emptiness. What was once a strong and powerful magnetic field becomes fragmented, weak, and unstable. In this state, you start to doubt yourself. You begin to think negatively, and you feel that everything in your life is stuck and blocked. And as we have already discussed, demons and parasitic entities are drawn to and feed off this state of vulnerability and weakness. The weaker and more hopeless you feel, the harder it is to regain control of your own reality. There is another crucial factor here: mental clarity. When your creative energy is intact and circulating within you, your mind becomes sharper and more insightful. Your intuition strengthens, and you begin to see opportunities and paths forward that were previously hidden from your view. But when that energy is wasted, your mind becomes cloudy, confused, and filled with endless distractions. You lose the connection with your own inner power, and that loss is reflected in every single area of your life. If you are trying to manifest prosperity and abundance but are trapped in this relentless cycle of energy waste, abundance will naturally move away from you. If you are desperately seeking a greater purpose but find you can't move past a state of chronic stagnation, it might be because your primary creative force is being systematically drained away. The good news in all of this is that this power can be restored, just like a muscle that has atrophied but can be strengthened again with training. Your manifestation energy can be fully recovered when you learn to consciously and intentionally channel your vital force. Now that you understand the profound spiritual dangers that lie hidden behind this habit, the big question remains: how do you break free from it for good? How do you finally escape this debilitating cycle and recover your energy, your clarity, and your sacred connection with the divine? The answer isn't just a matter of simple willpower. Because on its own, when pitted against a deeply ingrained habit and powerful energetic forces, the mere desire to stop may not be enough to succeed. What you need is a comprehensive strategy. You need unwavering discipline. And most importantly, you need a fundamental shift in how you perceive this sacred energy. The very first step to breaking this cycle is the cultivation of deep awareness. You need to truly and fully understand, in every cell of your being, that this is not a harmless habit. You must internalize the truth that every time you give in to this impulse, your precious life force energy is being drained from you. Every time you feed your mind with fantasies and uncontrolled desires, you are opening doors within your aura to forces that want to keep you weak and disempowered. Having this crystal clear clarity changes everything. It pulls you out of the trance of autopilot mode and places the power of conscious choice back into your hands. Then comes the crucial second step. You must learn to transmute this energy. Sexual energy is extremely powerful, but it must be directed. If you do not use it consciously for a higher purpose, it will end up manifesting in a chaotic and destructive way. That is why practices like intense physical exercise, deep meditation, heartfelt prayer, and conscious breathing techniques are so incredibly effective. They help you to redirect this potent vital force away from the lower chakras and toward something constructive and uplifting. The next time you feel a strong urge to release this energy, try to consciously channel it into something productive instead. Take that raw power and use it to create something beautiful, to work diligently on your projects, or to strengthen your body and your mind. The more you learn to consciously direct this energy towards something greater than yourself, the less power it will have to control you. Another essential point is to keep yourself occupied with a higher purpose. One of the biggest triggers for falling back into this cycle is boredom and a lack of clear direction in life. When your life feels empty, when you don't have a clear, motivating goal, your mind will naturally seek an escape, and instant pleasure becomes a dangerous and alluring trap. That is why it is absolutely essential to fill your life with something that truly motivates you and inspires you. Ask yourself these questions. What is the mission that God has placed in my path? How can I use my energy and my talents for something that truly makes a difference in the world? When you find a purpose that makes you feel intensely alive, this type of low-level distraction begins to lose its power over you. And here comes a point that many people ignore. You must control the environment you are in. If you are constantly surrounded by negative stimuli, if you spend hours every day consuming content online that triggers you and pulls you back into this old habit, it will be much, much harder to break the cycle. The change must be complete and holistic, affecting everything from the way you think to the content you consume on a daily basis. And last, but certainly not least, you must ask for spiritual help. You do not have to fight this battle alone. Pray with all your heart. Ask for guidance from your higher self, from your angels, from God. Ask for the strength to break free from these chains. The more you consciously connect with the divine, the more protected you will be from these kinds of energetic traps. Breaking this cycle isn't easy, but it is absolutely possible. And once you succeed, you will see your life begin to change in the most amazing and unexpected ways. Now that you understand everything that is truly at stake, the ultimate question remains. What will you do with this information? Will you continue to live on autopilot, unconsciously giving your precious energy away to forces that want nothing more than to keep you weak? Or will you finally decide to take control of your own life and reclaim the divine power that has always been yours? This is not just a matter of self-control. It is a matter of profound spiritual freedom. When you free yourself from this cycle, everything changes. Your mind becomes clearer than ever before. Your intuition becomes sharper and more reliable. And your connection with the divine becomes stronger and more intimate. You will begin to realize that the constant tiredness, the lack of motivation, and even the persistent anxiety you may have felt were actually just symptoms of an energetic theft that was happening right under your nose, without your conscious awareness. Now, the choice is yours. Do you feel like this has already happened to you? Do you recognize that this habit has been dragging you down and preventing your spiritual growth? If so, share your story in the comments. Your experience, your vulnerability, could be the very thing that helps others to recognize this trap in their own lives and make a different, more empowered choice. Your words have power, and if this message has resonated with you, share it with someone you know who needs to hear it. Maybe they don't even realize that they are caught in this insidious cycle, but the right word, shared at the right time, has the power to change an entire life. We are all in this journey together, awakening spiritually and learning how to protect ourselves from the traps that are designed to pull us away from our true, divine purpose. See you in the next video. May the light always be with you.